Hey guys, another show, and today we're diving into the inbox, and it's all about you.
This is Double Tap, where blind people talk tech.
No.
Here's Stephen Scott and Shaun Priest.
Why would it be about you?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, actually. Why would it be about me, Stephen Scott? We all know it's all about you.
It's not all about me. It's all about you, the listener, you, the dear viewer, you, the dear... well, how else do people consume? Reader? I don't think that works, does it?
Well, no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. No.
Hello, Stephen.
Hi.
You all right?
Yeah. Usual calamitous entry to the show. Hi. How are you today, Shaun Priest?
I am great, Stephen Scott. I've made a decision that I'm not going to do the silly sound effects when you mentioned diving into the inbox anymore because, to be honest, I've outgrown it. You know, I'm leaving childish things behind.
So, no more oosh, no more
ooshes,
no
more ding-dongs, no more wee, none of that. No,
wow.
that's the old Shaun.
Wow.
Okay, I'm professional and mature.
You know, I saw a shop, I think it was Amazon, probably was Amazon.
Yeah, of course it was.
Where else would I be? And, Apple Store probably is the other place. But, I was in the Amazon store. I only ever go to shops that start with A. That's basically how my life works. And there I am in the Amazon store, and it said, it's cozy season. And I thought, I like that. I actually quite like that. Cozy season.
Well, it's better than freezing cold season, isn't it?
Well, that's exactly what it is. But, it's cozy season. I bought myself today.
Oh.
Wait for this.
Yes.
No, what do they call it? I don't know if there's an actual name for these.
An M5 Mac.
No.
Okay.
No, Max, no. No, I bought myself, what would you call it? A tracksuit? Is that the right phrase for it? That's what we used to call them in the 80s. I don't know if they still call them that.
Really? A shell suit, I've also
shell suit,
known as? Yes. Okay, so you're going to the gym?
No.
Taking up running?
No. Taking up sitting on the sofa and staying warm at the same time.
All right. Well, isn't it? What happened to onesies? What happened to that craze?
Oh, I love
onesies?
the onesie thing. I did. And the problem was the one I had, the only one I have, which still...
The one onesie?
The one that still fits. That one is a Christmas one. It's got Christmas puddings all over it. And I have to say, in April, you get some looks. Well, no, I do wash it, but, But wearing that in April doesn't really work, or May, or even now. It feels a bit too early to play it.
I mean, what are you talking about? Who's going to see it? It's a onesie for lounging around the house with. I mean,
look, you know that someone finds it funny. Because the delivery guys and girls who drop all the parcels off at Scott Towers, I'm sure they see many sights when doors are opened. I have to say, nothing makes their day more than seeing Stephen Scott in a onesie covered in chocolate puddings. And I don't mean that I've dribbled down me. I mean actual little pictures of them. I mean, maybe that also is there. But yeah, I think that probably, either makes them laugh or, makes them, consider their own life choices.
Well, wow, that got serious all of a sudden. Can I just say, I had a delivery yesterday and the lovely Amazon man refused to speak to me.
Oh, I get that all the time now.
Oh,
they just go away. They just leave it at the door and walk away. They don't even say anything. So you're standing saying hello, and there's no one there. And you hear the car driving up the street, and you're like, oh, okay.
If you're lucky, you will get the shout as they're diving back into their van. Yeah, I left it at the door. If you're lucky, but most of the time, nothing. Yeah, talking to open air. It's a great experience that I still love to this day.
But you know what? We all sit and we complain about it. But truth be told, I mean, those guys are out there in the freezing cold, out there getting our parcels to us. They're the heroes, Shaun Priest. They're the real heroes.
How did you turn this round for me being absolutely terrible person?
I don't know. That was not intentional, but it kind of worked in my favour, didn't it? That worked out rather well.
Yes, they are. They do an amazing job, and it's extremely stressful. I'm so sorry. I don't expect them to talk to me, in fact. Why would they?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you especially. But I will say this. I'm looking forward to my tracksuit arriving. I may even wear it on the show because... I have to say that there's only one thing. We obviously have our little dog, Oni. Right? Yes, Oni's lovely.
Yes.
But, one thing about him, and my wife, I might say as well, is that they do love the cold. They like it to be chilly.
Really?
Yeah, they don't like the heating on for very long. The dog starts panting. My wife gets annoyed. And I am freezing to death every single night. Sitting there, and I've decided that's why I decided to buy the tracksuit because I have to layer up in my own house.
Well, you could have got a blanket or a hoodie. I mean,
Yeah,
it
I
just
could
seems
have.
really weird, a tracksuit. When I think of tracksuit, I think of that sort of shiny nylon material, to be honest.
No, it's not that anymore. It's all cozy stuff, you know. It's not quite fleecy. It's not like that level. But it is that kind of relaxed loungewear, I think is the word I'm looking for. That's the word
Can
I'm
I
looking
just
for.
say, God bless you, Mr. F. It's a tech show. Honest.
Mr. F.
Dear, quickly, turn this around. Our listeners will save us.
People want to hear what's going on in our lives. They want to know what's going on.
They want to hear about your onesie and your tracksuit, do they?
My chocolate-covered onesie, yes.
Christmas pudding covered, I think
That's
you'll
the
find.
one, and chocolate covered. But that's real chocolate. That's the only thing. Yeah. Right, email time.
We get email. We get your email every day.
Right, come on, Shaun. Come on.
I'm not doing it.
Oh. Come on, you know you want to. Come
52-year-old
on, you want to do it. Come on. Hey, there we go.
You're a bad influencer.
Absolutely. I don't know if you've noticed this. My microphone feels like it's just about to die at any given second. So if I go quiet at any point during this program, it's all on you. And I have to say,
that's not a
many
problem.
people around here would be quite happy if that was to happen. I think someone's in here playing with my microphone tonight, deliberately trying to sabotage this program. That's just for the
Again, God bless you, Mr. F.
Telly audience out there. You see, think of everyone.
Oh, well done. Okay.
Yeah, bit of is sabotage French?
I don't know.
Actually, don't know.
Quickly move on. Again, our listeners will save us. Wow.
Right, we're going to play George's message in first. Now, George sent in a voice message. I believe it's rather long. So settle back and relax. And let's see what George has to say.
Hello, Double Tappers. This is George. So I want to discuss a few things, very specifically with assistive tech and a rather large supplier of talking products that many of you, especially those of you who live in the UK, will be quite familiar with. So I bought a talking combination oven from Cobalt Systems Limited. They supply a whole bunch of, manufacture a whole bunch of talking watches and talking scales and things. And I bought a talking bathroom scale from them as well. Very happy with it. I've even given it an interesting name, Jandy. I would love to hear you guys say Jandy with your accents. I'd love to hear how that sounds. Jandy.
Jandy.
Anyway, I digress.
Jandy.
So I bought this talking microwave. It took about 2 weeks to arrive, and
Jandy.
I went through a local distributor called Edit Microsystems. That's where you can get your Cobalt speech products if you would like to, if you live here in South Africa. And the microwave arrived, and it did everything it was supposed to do in terms of talking and making all the right sounds, and the motor would spin when I was trying to heat up my food. And upon opening the door, I discovered that my food hadn't been heated up at all. I turned on the oven, trying to cook some delicious food in the oven, and after 25 minutes, it was still frozen.
Oh,
so I
dear.
reported this to Edit Micro and to the manufacturer themselves, that being Cobalt Systems Limited, and they went above and beyond to solve my problem. They sent somebody from the offices of Edit Micro near where I live. It was about a 3-hour drive to me. They came, they tested the equipment, they took it back, and 2 weeks later, in fact, this morning, the new one arrived, and they brought it to me themselves.
Oh.
Helped me plug it in and set it up, and it works.
Hey!
And I just want to say publicly, thank you very much to Cobalt Systems Limited and Edit Micro for going above and beyond to make sure that my problem was solved. They took the unit back. I wasn't charged a cent above what I paid, and it works. It's amazing.
Yeah, very good.
So
Well
yes,
done.
I now
Yeah.
have my new talking, I believe you guys call it a combi oven. Now, combi in South Africa is another word for a minibus. So if you ask me if I have a combi,
That's not that.
the answer would be no. Anyway, I know, and this next bit is going to be said entirely in jest, but Shaun Priest,
What?
it was your fault
Oh.
that the microwave didn't work. I don't know why. I just think it's funny to blame you for something you had absolutely no involvement in. Maybe it
right.
was something you did there on the other side of the world, but oh dearie me, it didn't work. And Stephen,
Yes.
whatever you did, you fixed it.
Hey!
That was, of course, said entirely in jest. And now we get to the much more serious topics of this admittedly rather long voice note.
Cup of tea time.
And the first thing I'd like to discuss is the Online Safety Act that was passed in the UK. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's good. I certainly don't want to be able to access adult content with ease. Being a practicing Christian, I don't want to have that temptation over my head. That has been one of my struggles, if I may speak publicly, and I think it's wonderful because I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable providing whosoever it be it Google, Meta, Apple, or Microsoft, with a government document that is extremely private, or even a credit card, which I don't have. So no, and I'm not going to let AI judge whether I'm old enough or not. There's already a certain type of that verification going on with our banks, and that makes things very difficult because you can't sign in accessibly if you can't move your eyes, and I can't move my eyes. And all the banks in South Africa now seem to be using that facial recognition technology, which, yes, there is a voiceover prompt that'll tell you if your face is too far away or if you need to bring your face closer, but it's not perfect. And even with bank staff at the branch, it's incredibly difficult to set up. So I'm dreading when I'm going to have to upgrade to a new device because I'm going to have to go through that all over again. And then something that I think would be a rather interesting discussion on the show would be, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I find it rather difficult as a blind person, as a blind man specifically, to form relationships with sighted women. And I'd love to get your guys' views on this, and knowing that you're both married, I don't know whether both your wives are visually impaired, but if you wouldn't mind sharing, I would love to hear yours and the stories of other listeners who have married, as we would say, completely able-bodied women. How did that work? How did it go? Was it easy? Because I've noticed that it is rather difficult to get them to take us seriously, not just as friends, but as potential romantic partners. I have noticed in my years that meeting women, they won't treat you badly, they won't treat you with scorn, but they're not going to open themselves up to you as easily. And if they do, in my admittedly pessimistic view, it seems to be with an expectation that we will never want anything more. And I had an incident about 2 years ago where a friend, a member of a local social gathering group that I was a part of, came up to some other friends that were not part of this group and introduced himself to them. I seemed to be the only one he recognized. And he proceeded very happily to invite everybody else as part of that group to an event that he was having at his house. Everybody except me, that is. And that was rather hurtful because he had known me much longer than he'd known these people. And he'd met these people not 10 seconds before. Why was I excluded? Was it because of my vision? Was it because of the fact that I was blind? Was it because of the fact that he didn't know how to broach the subject? I'd love to get your guys' view on this issue because it's a very important issue, especially for young people. And in today's day and age of internet and social media. And let's not even discuss dating apps because that is something quite different. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much for listening. And yeah, hope to hear your thoughts.
Wow, a lot to pick up on there. I don't really know where to start on that one, Shaun Priest, because...
Well, I'll take the easy one. It's great to give credit to companies that do well. We're quickly to complain, so well done to Cobalt and, was it Edit Systems in South Africa? Well done, great job. The company was near to you, you said, George. Only took them 3 hours to get to you. Wow.
I thought he was going to say at that point, they did confirm the food was cold, which after 3 hours drive, I guess it probably would be.
Yes, so that's good. The next one was the online age verifications. And yeah, I think when we brought this up, I was very much for it. I think it's a good thing. Any barriers that you can put up to stop, I'm going to say vulnerable people, viewing content that may be hurtful, harmful, unsuitable, inappropriate. Well, yeah, of course, children, yeah. I think is a good thing. Even after the, as you said, George, giving over your government ID to a third-party company to verify your age, and credit card, which was the third option I forgot about the other day, yes, and then AI to guess your age. It does make me slightly nervous, especially as we've already had a data breach on that. So, but as a concept, I think it's a good thing. Now for relationship advice, Stephen Scott.
Oh, yeah, come to me. Yeah,
I'm not married,
I'm in
by
a,
the way.
well, you're not married. That's right, and that's
Thank
an
you.
absolute disgrace.
I do apologize. Yeah, 30 years. I'm not rushing into anything.
Do you know, I will say though, I had a friend who did get married after, I think they were 22 years together, and they decided to get married. They lasted a year. That was it.
Well,
Divorced.
that's what you get when you rush into things.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It's like, I don't know if something just changes after that period of time. I don't know. It's different for us because my wife and I have known each other for a very long time before we got married, before we were together, all that stuff. So, you know, it was, yeah.
It was meant to be, Stephen Scott.
But when I think about dating, I think from my own experience, certainly dating young, when I was in my early 20s, late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, whatever, I was more sighted then. So I suppose I can't really speak to it from that blind perspective, right? Because it was different. I've never really thought about it beyond that. So I can't really talk about it too much from my own perspective. But I'd like to think, I'll say it in this sense, because I do come to this from a different place, which is friendships. I do often find, and certainly have found, and I have gone back and forth on this. Is it me? Is it them? Is it something else? Am I overthinking this? But there are times I have felt that friendships I could have had, or friendships that could have blossomed, didn't blossom because I was blind. And, you know, I've seen it in certain situations where I've thought, this person I could really get on with well. Then you hear them, just very similar to what you said there, George, you know, a night out comes up or something's happening, and you kind of think, oh, I'd like to be part of that. You don't say that, obviously, but you think it. And then suddenly you don't get an invite and everyone's telling you how great that night was. And there's that sense of, I have had one occasion in my life where someone said to me, well, we would have invited you, but, you know, it's just the challenge, isn't it? I know you don't really like going out. And I thought, yeah, but that's my choice not to go. Well, it is difficult. But
I was going to jump in there because the amount of times I've been, you know, invited somewhere and I say, yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah,
I think people just assume you don't want to go after all.
But that's fine. But again, that should be on me to decide that. I feel like it's if the other person's saying, well, no, I'm not going to invite them because, you know, they won't say because you're blind, but it is going to be part of it. It is going to be part of it. There's almost that sense of, I think that a lot of people who are in the sighted world see us as needing to be cared for.
Yeah.
I've seen this from many, many angles over the years, actually. And it's funny, when you talk to sighted people about this, and you're having a conversation and you bring this kind of topic up, they always say the same thing. Oh, no, people don't think like that. No one pities blind people. Come on, don't be silly. Yeah, you might not, but others do. Trust me on that. I've had too many experiences of it in my life.
It's the same with anything, though. If it is friendship or something more romantic, it's that getting over that initial barrier of the disability first, right? That's what people see you as. That is your identity. And, you know, people's perception of disability is not a positive thing. So it's not until you actually get past that, you know, if you're working with someone, for example, that initial week maybe is going to be really tricky, and it's just going to be, you know, oh, do you need help with this? Oh, do you need... And after a while, once people get to know you, that drops away and they talk to you like a person, right?
And it's obviously true, because there's many, many couples. I can think of many in my life, friends of mine who, you know, are blind, who've married people who are sighted. And it's funny, I remember my wife and I used to talk about this. I remember at school, when I was with my wife and I were at the same school, and when we weren't married at the time, obviously, that would have been a bit weird. But, you know, there we were, and I remember talking about this in the visual impairment unit, saying, I will never marry someone who's blind. I will never marry, you know, loudly shouting this from the rooftops. I will never marry someone who's blind, because, you know, I want to have some... I was very superficial about it, to be perfectly honest. Somebody could drive, exactly. If one of us is going to be able to drive, it has to be the other person. It's not going to be me. So, you know, that was the teenager thinking, right? But obviously that's nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. And the reality is, when you find someone who you want to be with for the rest of your life, you found them. It doesn't matter what situation you're in. And let's be honest about it, as life goes on, more chance of us becoming disabled later in life. So, you know, we're going to all face disability at some point, even if we're not facing it already.
Beautiful concept you've got there, Stephen Scott. It's like a novel or something. It's beautiful.
Not a very well written one. GPT, perhaps.
No, obviously not.
Yeah.
In reality, I think George is spot on, to be honest. I think most people look at someone with a disability as someone, as you said, to be pitied. And I think it takes a very special person to get beyond that. And I think it doesn't matter if the person is sighted or not sighted. I think most of us find our life partner because of the situation we're in. And I met Sarah, who is visually impaired, at Hereford, a blind college. So she has a visual impairment. You know what I mean? I think for a lot of us, we meet our partners in social gatherings or maybe in university or night class or whatever it may be. And if the other people there, if it's a blindness orientated thing, then of course they're going to be visually impaired. If it's not, then they're probably going to be sighted. So I don't know, but I think that there's definitely a thing. I saw a video from the blind surfer talking about, when he was going on dating sites and whether he put blind up there. And it's something that's been discussed a lot, if you put your disability as part of your description or not. And the amount of times he got ghosted, people didn't turn up, or then when they did turn up and he didn't say anything, but he told them when they met, they would just, go, or he'd never hear from them again. It's a reality. It is a reality. I don't know the answer to it. It's just, again, it's the mainstream perception of disability.
And I feel bad for the people who say no to that because they miss out on opportunities to meet someone who might be great from them. But they've just seen disability first and they've just said, no, I don't want to deal with that. And, again, that individual themselves, I don't think that makes them a bad person right away. I think there's that tendency to just kick that person down and say, oh, well,
Oh, absolutely not. I think it's perfectly human. If you think, I'm trying to think now, how would I feel about someone with another disability? I'm very comfortable with a blind person, but with another disability, I'm probably act as awkward as anyone else.
Well, that's the interesting thing about disability. In particular, it's very hard, I think, to create the community around disability for that reason, because we all have so many different, different experiences depending on that disability. Now, even within sight loss, there are many, many different experiences. Even within blindness, there are many, many different experiences with light perception and all the spectrum of different eye conditions and everything else. All our experiences are different. You and I are classed as blind, yet you and I have very different experiences.
Yeah, true.
There's a lot of similarities, don't get me wrong, a lot of similarities, and there are commonalities for sure, but there are differences. Now, when you talk to someone else about, perhaps someone who uses a wheelchair or someone who's deaf or someone who, has whatever you can think of in terms of disability, right? Whatever the disability might be. It's very hard for us to talk about it because, someone said to me once, well, why don't you talk more about, pan-disability technology on the show? And I said, well, look, it's not really fair for us to talk about it because we don't use that stuff. I can't talk to you about the best wheelchair that might be, the best powered wheelchair out there. I would love to talk about it, but I've got no knowledge of it. I don't use powered wheelchairs, and people who do use them will very quickly tell you the right option and why this one's good, this one's bad.
And they should be the people talking about it.
Look, I wouldn't even have talked 10 years ago about braille displays on this show because I didn't use them. I didn't really understand what they were all about.
It's true. Yeah.
So I never talked about it because at that level in my vision, I wasn't using it, I wasn't needing it. So it wasn't something I would ever even think about. Now I'm intrigued, I'm learning about it, and it's good. So, it's all down to the experience, which is why when I talk about jobs and people applying for jobs, becoming CEOs of organizations or working, representing blind people as sighted people or able-bodied people, whatever the phrase you like to use is, I often feel you've got to have the experience, the actual experience of having the disability before you can talk about it. Because that's the same with everything else. If we had a black person on the show and I tried to explain slavery to them, I think you might find very quickly I'd be cancelled. And rightly so.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I'd be interested to hear our listeners.
I will say this because I think I've often said it when it comes to job applications, and it's the same in employment as it is in relationships, as it is in friendships. There are some times, especially in those early days, where we individually, as the disabled people, have to go twice the distance to even get half as far.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the case, I think, with relationships. We have to play the long game a little bit, and we have to hope the person who we're hoping to date will play it with us and come along and try and understand and get to know us and get... It seems ridiculous, and I know it seems ridiculous to a lot of people to even suggest the idea, especially in our community. You know, in the blind community, if you said to someone, well, look, you know, you got to have some patience here. This person doesn't know you. They've got a lot of preconceptions about disability. They need to get over that themselves first. And if the response to that is, well, I don't have time for that. You should just accept me for who I am. Well, I think that's a little bit unfair. That's a little bit unfair because that individual may have their own issues that you need to get over. Are you going to quickly just get over it and just get with the program? I don't think so. I think you're going to have to take a beat as well. So, you know, we've got to think about this from both sides and be a bit fair with people, be patient. Now, George, I don't know your situation there. You say you're religious. I mean, I don't know. Is that perhaps a place you begin to find someone, some solace in the church? I don't know your situation, your religion, but, you know, just putting it out there, you know, your place of worship might be a place to start, you know? For a start, you don't have to, I mean, go into a bar, oh, God, what a horrible thought. You know, all that stuff. But, you know, a place where you can have, I think you need to think about where you can find common ground with someone.
Yeah. Something you can talk about other than so you're blind or you're whatever it may be.
And accept that you're going to have to do that. Just accept that. You're going to have to go through it. We all go through it. It's like a rite of passage every time we meet someone. We've always got to, right, okay, here we go. Yeah, let's get the blind thing out of the way every time. You know, it's that thing of, I was saying it that day I got on the bus and I sat down next to the guy and the first thing he said to me was, so have you always been blind?
Yeah.
Okay, right, let's do this then. And you just feel it's this dance I've got to do, you know, maybe the 5th, 6th time that day I have to do it. I almost feel like I want to chat GPT my answer or maybe just record it in advance and say, watch this YouTube
video. Get it on
video.
a t-shirt.
Yeah, put it on YouTube. Here's the answer to that burning question you just asked me on the bus.
Here's the QR code. You can see my response here.
Wouldn't that be great? Scan my QR code. Get all your questions answered. Now, of course, they'd never speak to you again because that's the only thing they wanted to know. Great question, George. I'm sure others will have comments. More than sure of it, actually. So thank you. Yep. Thank you for that. Let's move on to John.
Hey, guys. This is John in Missouri in the USA. And, oh, my goodness, you brought up a whole bunch of thoughts, in my mind anyway, about what it's like to still have some vision and yet be blind. And, oh, my goodness, I don't even know where to start. I could go on for a half an hour about this, but I will be merciful and only just say a few things. I was one of those kids who went to a school for the blind and was encouraged to use all the vision that I could. And so I'm seeing a chiropractor these days because of all the neck and back problems and shoulder problems and so on and so forth from stooping over books for years with a magnifier that took years to find the right one of those. Anyway, I didn't learn to use a cane until I was 18, and I fought it like crazy before that. But friends told me in college when I went back to school, after being out for a semester to get rehab training, they said that, you know, you look a lot more confident because you have a cane and you don't look like you're drunk, you know, or on drugs or whatever. So that was cool.
That's nice.
A few years ago, I had to start wearing sunglasses because I developed photophobia. I've had enough various treatments for glaucoma, which I've had since I was a kid. I had congenital cataracts. And so I've just got this photophobia to deal with. So I got the cane and the sunglasses, but it still probably makes people wonder because I can see some. And, you know, I remember hearing someone say that when they were asked how their vision was or what they could see, they said, I can see more than you think I can, but I can't see as much as I think I can. And I'm really beginning to appreciate that more and more because as I get older, and I'm 66, by the way, it takes work to see. By the way, if you read Mike May's book, Crashing Through, there's some fascinating discussion in there about what it's like to have vision. And it is work to see. And sometimes my brain just gets tired and I don't want to see as hard as I used to see. So I don't fuss as much with reading print. I get a lot of my material by way of audio, and I do know Braille. I'm not that great at it, so, you know, I appreciate what you guys have to say about all that too. But you know, it's really something because you're kind of walking in two worlds. You're not sighted, you're not totally blind. And I appreciate a long time ago learning from the NFB that there are degrees of blindness. And, the general public doesn't get that, but that was a big help for me. Okay, guys, like I said, I could go on and on about this, but keep up the good work. By the way, I'm calling you on my Blind Shell Classic 2, which I hope they don't do away with anytime soon. I had an Apple phone, an iPhone 8 at one time for a few years, and I like the push buttons on this thing a whole lot better. Of course, it doesn't do everything that an iPhone can do, but that's okay. I don't need it to, because I'm one of those guys who's like the little old lady that owns a Ferrari and only drives at 25 miles an hour. Okay. Enough rambling for me, guys. Take care. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, John. Really appreciate that message. A lot of what you're saying there is very reminiscent of me and where I am at the moment. And this past week has been a little bit tough. I don't know why. I honestly have no idea why. Someone will tell me, I'm sure, but I've struggled a lot this week, and it's been struggling with sometimes when it's that thing of you're trying to do something and then all of a sudden you feel you can't do it. And I don't know if it's because the vision's getting worse or what is going on, or I'm just having a bad week, or I'm tired, or I'm, coming through a cold, because a lot of people have got colds and COVID is flying around again. So, I understand that. And all that.
No, it's a blind thing, Stephen Scott.
Well, it could be all of it, though, right? It can all lead to that, right? So whatever it leads to, the point is that you do feel those frustrations. Something you could do last week that you maybe can't do quite as well this week. And you're absolutely right. It's exhausting to be blind. It really is. And I never really understood that or put it together quite as well. Tim Dixon, our good friend Tim, wrote a post about this on LinkedIn the other day. And he's absolutely right. It is exhausting to be blind at times. And I think that's an important thing to say, because a lot of us, I certainly wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together on that one and come up with 4, personally.
And I noticed that Tim had put, you know what, and I've come to accept it and say, I need to take a rest. I need to take some time out to, sort of energize myself again, because you do get tired. And once you accept that, you don't, again, so it reminds me of the talk we had on Tuesday with Judge David Tatel,
yeah.
On the on his experience as well, and it's all about just learning to accept it is what it is, and it gets easier. I've got to say, going back to that, you look much more comfortable now. You don't look drunk or on drugs. For the longest time, when I wasn't using a white stick, the people in my local estate just assumed I was an alcoholic all the time. And you know what? I went with that rather than telling them I had a problem with my eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't that just tell you everything? I was much happier to be seen as, it's just drunk Shaun, lurching around the pavement or whatever.
Well, you play into it, don't you? You play the.
You do.
You sometimes play
exactly
the fool just to almost let people away. I think that's sometimes where perhaps the infantilization comes from, because we feel we try to fit in the best way we can, but we're always but we're always subservient to some degree. We're always the lesser than. We end up in that situation, because I even think about being in that restaurant the other day with you and I and Callum, and there we are, the blind train walking along. Yes. I would have avoided that train like the plague about, probably 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, maybe. I'd have been like, no, it's all right. I'm fine. I'm on my own. I'll manage. I'll just carry on.
Sat there for 3 hours trying to figure out where the door was and trying to figure out a route to get there without asking or, letting people know.
But even in that moment, it wasn't like somehow doing that was okay. In that moment, in my mind, as I'm walking with you, I'm thinking, what on earth are people thinking in this restaurant now?
I think, who are those two handsome gentlemen?
Being led to
doing the blind conga through the restaurant.
More comfortable seating, because
we can't see where we're going.
Couldn't handle sitting in the regular seats anymore.
Do you know what? You say that, and I totally get it, but I've got to say, and I know it's a bit of a cliche, but since I can't hide it anymore and I don't have to hide it, I feel so much freer. I was thinking just the other day, I went out, 6 a.m., right? Absolutely pitch black, sunglasses on. I met someone in the park when I was walking the dog, and they said, "Isn't it dark?" I said, you should try wearing sunglasses while you do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is, there was a time when I used to wait. I had to wait until it got light enough where I had some level of vision before I'd go out. And, during the depths of winter, that could be 8:30, 9 o'clock before it was enough light that I could go out.
Yeah.
I know I could go out any time. It doesn't bother me. I don't feel I feel like so much weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Firstly, from the social aspect, that I don't have to try and mask this disability, this shameful disability anymore. And secondly, actually, my life's a little bit easier. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but it's true.
I think, well, I don't know, maybe it's different. My experience has been because there's some vision left.
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
So things are moving around a lot around me. I'm very aware of, silences and conversations, and suddenly I'm kind of I'm always trying to see something. That's the problem. And it was interesting, I think, was it George? No, I think John said this, that you kind of sometimes almost, I've used the phrase a lot, you want to just turn your eyes off. If I could just switch them off for a while, that would actually be better. And I don't mean, like go blind forever. I don't mean that. But although in saying that, I sometimes wonder, I've said this many times as well on the show, that I sometimes wonder if it all went, would that necessarily be a bad thing right now? Because the position I'm currently in is that horrible position where, I'll give you a great example of this. So there was a video on YouTube the other day of a Vision Pro app, which was a keyboard app, right? So you can learn to play the keyboard, the piano. And I thought that sounds pretty cool. So I was watching the video, and in the video they describe that you take a virtual keyboard. If you've got an actual real keyboard in the house, that's great. You can have a virtual keyboard, but in the app you can use a real keyboard as well. And this guy did in his house. And he, looking through the Vision Pro, he can see this kind of floating virtual keyboard. And what you do is you kind of grab that virtual keyboard in this virtual space, and you bring it down, you overlay the virtual keyboard onto your real one. And what it does is that then essentially tells the computer, tells the Vision Pro, this is the real thing. And then the whole thing comes to life. The whole, all the lights, all the keys light up, and, it begins the process of being able to help you learn. So when they say press note C will light up on the keyboard in front of you, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's amazing what they can do with this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was watching that video, and I could see the light come on the key. And I was thinking in that moment, if I was explaining this to a sighted person, they would say, oh, well, you can see that then, you could use this. But that's all I could make out. I couldn't make out the notes, the sheet music they had in front of them, whatever was bouncing around on the screen, any text that was on there, all that detail, all that stuff, which you need. If you're going to do that thing, you got to do it. I mean, it's a bit like saying, if I was sitting down in my truck game, right? I'd love to drive my truck again, as I've been talking about, especially since I learned that Euro Truck Simulator is getting a big upgrade for the UK. I was like,
Let it go.
But,
Let it go.
I can sit in that cab of that lorry in that virtual truck, and I can make out enough to know that I've got the steering wheel in front of me. That's probably about it. I can't read any of the information or any of the details. The road in front of me, I can tell is a road in front of me because it's a road in front of me and it's a truck on the road. It's not going to be parked, in a garage somewhere. So I'm thinking, okay, so there's a logic to this. But then all the detail that comes, the actual ability to move that thing forward, to be able to check the speedometer, to check the map, all those things that you need to play the game, can't do that. So that's the frustration. It's like you can only your vision only takes you a little bit. It's like
so far.
It's almost like the only way I can describe it is being at a gig or something, and you're right at the very back, and there's a really tall guy in front of you. You can kind of make out the stage, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But no detail, no information, nothing, and you're expected to enjoy it in the same way. And of course, it's just not the same. So,
well, it's the same. That's that saying, isn't it? I've got enough vision that gets me into trouble.
Yes.
I got to the stage where my vision just got in the way. It would put me off. That starting when you think, oh, I'm just about to walk into something, and it would be nothing. It would be a shadow, or it'd be
that's
whatever.
where I'm getting to now. Yeah, yeah.
And it became a hindrance. That usable vision became a hindrance. But
I mean, it's funny because someone said to me when I was walking, one of the benefits of having a guide dog, for example, and not the reason I've applied for one, but people talk about the fact that when you do walk with a guide dog, you're encouraged to have your head up. Walk up straight, back straight. It's supposed to help your posture to be able to walk with a guide dog. With a cane, it's a little bit different. But even then, going around town, I don't want to see what's coming at me. Not because it's not because I can see it, but because the brain might put something in the way that isn't actually there. And that's happening more often than not. And that can be so distracting.
Fills in the blanks.
Because bear in mind that this vision, this image in front of you is being taken in by my brain, and it's not really all getting in there. The brain's filling in the blanks to make up what it thinks is really there based on context and noise and everything else. And it might present itself with something which either puts something in the way or takes something out of that image. It's like that Google Magic Eraser thing they've got on the Android phone, so you can take things out of pictures. It can just remove someone. So suddenly you think nothing's there and you walk right into someone or something. And I just cannot describe to you sometimes the difficulty with that, the challenge with that,
the shock,
the anger that I've got to say that comes with it sometimes, because it's so frustrating.
Like a realization. Oh yeah, I really can't. I do that all the time with putting clothes on, and I think I've got a yellow top on or something, and then someone will say, "I like your red top." Well, I'm sure, and as soon as they say it, it turns red. And it's like, even though I still can't see it at all anyway, I can't see the
in your mind it's red. Yeah.
But now it's red. It's like, okay, I'm sure I looked at it and we're strange people.
Well, we're not
humans,
strange people.
Not blind people.
We're not strange
humans.
people.
Our
we're
brains
normal.
do things.
We're normal. So our brain's playing tricks on us.
But
it's an interesting one. Well, thank you for unleashing all of that for you, John. I hope I don't know if that helps you or not with anything you've said
me.
there. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah. Therapist John there. Thank you very much,
This is our
John.
therapy session today. It feels like it. Okay. I did that thing the other day. I was telling, I sent a friend, he will never know I sent this message because I was going to, I should say.
Uh-oh.
So I was going to send a message to a friend the other day, and it started off me kind of, laying out exactly how I felt about all this stuff. And I was laying it all out. I was at 8 minutes into this voice message, and I thought, the person I'm sending this to doesn't need to hear this.
Doesn't need this, exactly.
They've got their own problems. They don't need this. And so the end result of the message was, "Hi, how are you?" It's like, that was not the message 8 minutes ago. Right, let's move on to TJ.
Hey, TJ Malloy here. Another message in response to Tuesday's podcast to Jim in Florida. I feel your pain, man. Nothing more frustrating than having to explain to somebody 3 or 4 times that you're blind and you can't see. And yet they keep asking you, can you tell if the light is on the modem? Well, actually, no, I'm blind. I can't see. Well, can you tell if it's flashing or if it's constant? No, I can't tell you anything about the light. So I get your pain. Definitely understand.
Yeah, I think that was the message Jim was talking about. Was that the one going to Subway?
No, I think it was even before that. Was that the one? It could be. We've had so many.
I know there's been
could
a few.
also be the library, where the librarian was saying, it's by the blue or red or,
Oh, right,
it's the same old thing. It's the over there factor, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me where it's over there? Well, I have no idea where you're pointed. How does that help me? And you can keep repeating yourself and they can keep doing the same action and not just comprehending it. Again, I think it comes down to people's, they're almost, they get so awkward about it that they freeze and it just doesn't go in. So, it's not really, I don't think it's necessarily, a sort of being cruel or being necessarily rude. I think in some cases it's just, they can't process it.
Yeah,
strange,
I think you're right. I think it's strange. I think, though, what I try to say to people, it's funny, I have noticed one trait which happens, and I wonder if anyone else has noticed this, I'm sure you will, is when you're telling someone, so someone might ask you the question about being blind or whatever, and if you at any point say, look, what option do I have? I want to just get on with life, so I just try and smile about it. And you get the, oh, good for you, congratulations or well done or whatever you get. And but there's almost a sense of then but comes in. There's this but that then appears where it's like, well, yeah, you say that, but of course it is really difficult, isn't it? It's challenging. It's or they just move on entirely and they just go back round in circles again and say the same things. It's as if they're not actually hearing what you're saying. I get that quite a lot as well. Strangely, because I get a lot of that from, mostly, believe it or not, from the assistance teams at train stations. If I talk to people there, I tend to feel there's a little bit of, again, their job is to help you get around. So, they see you having a need, but they don't see you as a human being first. They just see you as a person who needs a need. I mean, if they even see the person part at all. I go back to this all the time. You know, the person part is the bit that people often miss. And if we started there, we might get on better. A lot of people don't. They don't start from that person place. They just see you as a, you know, you've talked about, you know, going to an airport or a train station and being treated in a way like a parcel. You're delivered to your location.
I like that. That's what I want. I am a parcel.
Yeah, but you're not a parcel. You're a human being.
No, yeah, but I don't want a deep, meaningful discussion.
No, but you don't have to have a deep, meaningful conversation. But you would, you know, but ideally in life, I'd like to be treated like a human being. I'd like to be treated like that first. My name is Stephen, not blind guy. You know, I love all these people on social media who are blind who start off every video saying, "Hello, I'm blind." I know why they do it. I know why. Because you're trying to stand out.
That's what we call ourselves in every handle is blind whoever. That's what we do.
No, and again,
you can't have it both ways.
No. I'm not criticizing them for doing it. I know why they're doing it. I just feel it's a shame that we have to do it that way. It's a shame that that's the only way, I guess, to stand out, or maybe because we have to stand out this way. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you do need to stand out on social media. If you want to try and, you know, create something there, then you do need to stand out. And, you know, blindness is the hook, I suppose. I don't think.
Well, I'm blind guy tech on X. People always love to pick me up on that. Because I always say you're a blind guy. Yeah, but again, it's a persona, or it's a name. It's not a. It's not who I am.
Why is it blind? Yeah, but
I don't walk. I've never walked into. I can absolutely guarantee you, I've never walked into a room in my life and said, "Hello, I'm blind guy tech." That would be very weird.
Yeah, okay. I feel it's the same thing on social media. If that's what the identity you're creating. No, but
again, I know why they're doing it, because they have to do it, right? They have to stand out. They have to be different. They have to show the difference. Although again,
they're talking to a specific demographic.
Yeah, but again, that's the point. If we're all human, we forget about that. Don't put the identity first. We shouldn't have to do that.
But there's cases, depending on what you're talking about, where you are talking to a specific group of people. I'm not going to talk to the mainstream about, you know, a screen reader, right? And what's the keyboard shortcut for this?
But that's right. But you think of all the garbage that comes up on Facebook videos and all the rest of it, right? All the posts and stuff that you're not interested in. Someone sends me a post about cooking a meal, and I'm like, next. But I don't. You know, the guy doesn't start off by saying, "Hello, I'm chef." You know, just says his name.
I believe they do, actually. Yeah.
Some might.
I'm your Facebook chef. I'm your whatever. I don't know. Well, all right. Stephen's wrong. Feedback at doubletaponair.com. What do you think?
No, I'm too tired to care today. Right. Okay. Let's move on.
Clicky mic.
I know. I don't know what is wrong with this microphone today.
Oh, dear.
Let's go to Lena, because I think we should probably try and get some tech in here somewhere today.
Please.
Hi, Stephen and Shaun. This is Lena.
Hey, Lena.
Teresa asked about learning French on the show today, and I've got help.
Oh.
I have used an app called Natulang, Natulang. It works with iOS 16.7 and later. I used it to learn French, Italian, and even more Spanish than I had. If you'd like me to do a demo for the show, I could do that. Hope you are well and have a wonderful day. Love the show. Bye.
Thank you, Lena. I haven't heard from Lena in ages on the show.
It's been a while. Yes. Yes, that was, mind you saying that was a while ago, I think, when we had that email from Teresa about how to learn another language. We talked about Duolingo and what's the other one? Babbel? Accessibility on
That's
both.
What we do.
Yes, Babbel. Maybe it's Babel. But yeah, I think I have used, in fact, Sarah has used as well, Duolingo. And accessibility, it was usable to a degree, but it wasn't a nice experience. And that was a few years ago. So thank you so much for that recommendation.
Yeah, thanks for that, Lena. Okay, let's hear from Karen.
Hello, Double Tappers, Laura, Shaun and Stephen. It's Karen here from, I suppose it's a sunny Wales. Well, it's not at the moment because it's night time, but anyway, a dark Wales. Just listen to your Double Tap extra. And Shaun, you just make me laugh when you did use having your rant. I know I shouldn't laugh when you're having a bad day, but you are just so funny. I think you finished, and there's another thing. And there's another thing. So thank you for giving me laughing out loud. Stephen, with regards to your outlook, and your calendar, there is, when you create a new meeting in your calendar, there is a tick box that you can tick if it's an all-day event. It sounds like that's been ticked. But saying that, if that was ticked, you wouldn't be able to make an entry for a specific time because it doesn't give you the time option, if that makes sense. So I don't know if that's the only thing I can think of, but you've more than likely fathomed that one. I mean, you're far more techie than I. And I want to say thank you for having Denise and Kirsty on. I have been looking for a colouring book for adults for ages. I have ordered a couple, but they're very childlike, even though they're meant to be for adults. But this one sounds perfect, so I've ordered one. Now, before I used to listen to Double Tap, I never ever bought anything myself. But it's becoming a regular thing now. What with the Solos Allied glasses, with this colouring book, other stuff that I've purchased. Thank you very much. So you've given me the confidence to do that. So thank you very much for that. So keep up the good work, guys. I am quite addicted because if I don't manage to hear an episode one day, maybe if I'm working late, then I get withdrawal symptoms. So thanks for that, guys. So keep up the good work, and I look forward to your next show. Take care now. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Karen,
so
thank you.
Nice.
It's a lovely message, isn't it? It's a wonderful thing to say, and I'm so glad you enjoy the show and you enjoy Shaun shouting and me shouting and everyone shouting. Shouting's good. I say more shouting.
I can't remember what I was ranting about on the extra now. I'm over it, whatever it was. But thank you. I'm glad you got a laugh out of it as well.
Yeah. Speaking of which, that message or that episode or interview you were talking about there with the wonderful ladies who had created the I would say adult colouring books because they're
that sounds wrong.
It does sound wrong, doesn't it?
Yes.
But yeah, they're colouring books for adults. Is that better?
That's better. Yes, it is.
It's funny how you just move some words around. It suddenly sounds a lot better. That might be a market in that as well. Look, we're talking the other day about ChatGPT getting frisky with you. Maybe you can get some moving on. So yeah, that was as part of the Double Tap Extra podcast. Now you can get that by searching on your podcast app of choice for Double Tap Extra. I also encourage you to sign up for our newsletter because we're putting that out. And actually, if you check out that this week, the new one that's just come out, you're going to be able to take part in some cool things. In particular, we're putting some things in there into the newsletter. In particular, technology reviews and such like. When we're looking for your feedback, that is where we're going to be seeking it. So you're better to check out the newsletter to get up to date on it, all our stories, everything we've been talking about, and even some media appearances we've been doing outside of the show. You can get some links to that as well. And we've been talking to some wonderful people recently. So great opportunity to catch up on what we've been up to outside of the show. Even more.
Outside the show?
Wow. Is there a world outside Double Tap?
Apparently so.
I will say there's not going to be much of a double tap left if this microphone doesn't keep up, I'll tell you. It's struggling today. It really is.
Dragging along.
It's a nice microphone. I like it, but it doesn't like me.
Doesn't like
anymore.
you.
No. Can't blame it, really. But it's probably because I've shouted so much into it. I've actually hurt the microphone.
Stephen Scott. Everything's cool.
Is it,
Go to doubletaponair.com/subscribe.
Thank you. I was meaning to mention that. Yes, go to doubletaponair.com/subscribe and you can get access to the newsletter. As I say, some great things in there. We are going to be reviewing some new tech in the next coming weeks. So if you want to have your questions answered, and this is the way we want to do the reviews from here on in, I want your questions. I want you to tell me what you want to know about these products. So we'll tell you the product in advance, the one we've got hands-on with, and then we can get your questions answered on the show and put those questions, if I can't answer them, put them to the companies themselves. The one that's coming up very soon, in fact, we maybe not be next week, but week after, will be the WeWalk review. Again, through your questions that you've been sending in. You've sent in so many questions. So we're probably going to put a hold on that now and say we have enough questions to get us through the hour. But I'm going to be answering those questions. We're also going to be joined again very soon by Jean-Marc Figali from WeWalk to talk all about We Assist, which I haven't had a chance to try yet, but it is available in the UK during working hours. Interesting little service. So we're going to tell you about that with Jean-Marc Figali from WeWalk in the coming weeks. But for now, that is it from us, as always. Shaun Priest, if someone wants to send a message to our show, what should they do?
Well, there's many different ways. Feedback at doubletaponair.com, or you can call us on 01613 Send us a WhatsApp message.
Was that right?
I have no idea.
Well done. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.